One day, a girl with one arm showed up at the failing tofu shop I run. "I'll work for $1 a day. Please hire me." Her earnest eyes and determined, though trembling, words struck a chord in my heart. "All right, I get it. I'll hire you. But not for $1 a day. I'll hire you as a full-time employee. Let's start with $2,300 a month." At that moment, I had no idea that this encounter would be a turning point in my life. My name is Arthur Miller. I run this small tofu shop I inherited from my mother. The shop is quiet before opening. In the dim light of dawn, the only sounds are the water used to prepare the tofu and the hum of the machinery. When my mother was around, every day was a whirlwind of activity, but there was still a warmth to it. But now, no matter how much tofu I make, the air in the shop feels cold. Every time I scoop tofu out of the cold water, I feel as if something is slipping through my fingers. Why am I doing this all by myself? I find myself murmuring to no one in particular. It's not that I've grown to hate making tofu. In fact, I even feel a sense of pride in preserving the techniques my mother taught me. But since she passed away, I can't help but feel that the soul I once poured into making tofu is becoming just another task. Time to open the shutters, I guess. After finishing the morning preparations, I stepped outside the shop. As I unlocked and raised the shutter, I looked up at the shop's sign. The old letters are faded, but Miller's Tofu Shop is clearly carved there. Until last year, my mother and I had supported this sign together. But now, what's the point of this sign? The shopping district has become completely quiet. The street that was once bustling is now almost deserted. Daily sales are meager, and I can't find any new customers. The liveliness of those days may never return. "Mom, what should I do?" My words were met with only silence. I still remember the day I lost my mother and vowed to protect this shop, but now even that vow feels distant. My days are spent just making tofu. Every time a new day begins like this, a sense of emptiness washes over me. I'm supposed to be making this for someone, to bring someone joy, but it feels as if that someone is no longer here. Maybe there's no point in continuing the shop like this. Every time I think that, I ask myself, what would my mother say if she saw me? Am I living to protect this place? Or am I just desperately trying not to lose anything else? What in the world am I trying to protect? Just as a deep sigh escaped my lips, an unpleasant memory came flooding back to me. It was right after my mother passed away. Tofu's no different from the cheap stuff. Cut costs. Cancel the contract. Tyler Jones, the president of the high-end Chinese restaurant we had a long-standing contract with, suddenly contacted me with those words. "You can't be serious, Tyler. Our tofu has always been a hit at your restaurant. Your customers loved it." Of course, I protested many times. The main source of revenue for Miller's Tofu Shop was the business with Tyler's Chinese restaurant. We do some retail, but most of our orders come from restaurants and Chinese eateries that handle tofu, and we prepare tofu tailored to each of them. Among them, Tyler's Chinese restaurant, which features mapo tofu as its signature dish, had been placing large orders almost daily. "Tyler, please reconsider. Even your father, the previous owner, said he couldn't do without our tofu." I don't give a damn about that. In this day and age, profit is everything. Quality, craftsmanship, there's no value in that stuff. We have plenty of other suppliers. Tyler scoffed at my desperate plea. "Good riddance. Now I'm finally free of your shop." The moment he muttered those words over the phone, I definitely felt something. Hostility, no, something deeper. I had built a good relationship with his father, the previous owner. Tyler and I are from the same generation, and I thought we could push each other to be better from now on. But then, Tyler, why? I'm different from my father. That's all there is to it. He cut me off and hung up the phone. In the end, there was nothing I could do but accept the contract termination. After the contract with Tyler's restaurant was terminated, sales dropped noticeably. The business with that high-end Chinese restaurant had accounted for the majority of the shop's income. So from the moment I was told the contract was terminated, I was in a panic. I started putting more effort into direct-to-consumer sales, but they didn't sell as well as I'd hoped. Even though it's so delicious, I mutter, carrying a freshly made block of tofu. It may sound like I'm bragging, but the tofu we make here is undeniably delicious. The time, effort, and care I put into the tofu are all things I learned from my mother. The regular customers who know this are happy to buy it, but new customers are not so easy to come by. Why is that? What's missing? I can't help but hold my head in my hands. Now that the contract with Tyler's restaurant is gone, I can no longer hope for the stability I once had. Do I need to advertise more? Or should I try selling to other restaurants? I can't get my thoughts straight. In the first place, I'm not good at this kind of business negotiation. My mother and I just focused on making delicious tofu and delivering it to those who wanted it. But that's not enough in today's world. What should I do? I scoop up some more tofu and bring it to my mouth. The smooth texture and rich soybean flavor spread through my mouth. Our tofu really is delicious. And yet, I wonder what Mom would have done. I accidentally said it out loud. If my mother were alive, what advice would she have given me in a time like this? No, if I have time to think about this, I need to do something. I try to motivate myself, but I still don't have a clear answer as to what I should do. It was a quiet afternoon at the shop, a time when I would usually be engrossed in making tofu, but today I had taken a little break. Since sales had dropped, it felt like fewer people were passing by the front of the shop. I sighed and thought about the future. Excuse me. Just then, the shop door opened, and a young girl came in. I'd never seen her before. Welcome. Are you on an errand or something? She didn't look like a regular customer. Thinking she might be a girl from another shop sent to buy something, I called out to her. No, I'm sorry, I'm not a customer. But she said so in a slightly flustered manner and took something out of the tote bag she was carrying on her shoulder, holding it out to me. My name is Chloe Davis. Please, I'd like to work here. What did she say? I was genuinely surprised by the sudden offer and exclaimed. The girl who introduced herself as Chloe Davis was holding out a completed resume while bowing deeply. Suddenly, I felt a little strange. This girl, who seemed so polite, was holding out her resume to me with just her right hand. Your left arm, is that? Looking closely, Chloe's left arm was a doll-like prosthetic. The moment I realized that, a shock ran through me. I was wondering what to say to her when she slowly raised her head and looked me straight in the eye. I lost it in an accident. I know I should be looking for a job that's more suited to my situation, but I really want to work here. With that, Chloe bowed her head deeply. Please, I'll work for $1 a day. Please hire me. I was at a loss. I had never been asked so earnestly to work here before, and I could tell her resolve was genuine. But still, I couldn't just hire her. The reality is, my shop can't afford to hire anyone right now. Sorry, but here at our shop, we can't say anything we're not sure of. Just as I was about to turn her down, I remembered my mother's words. It's important to lend a hand to those in trouble. After all, no one can live alone. My mother used to say that all the time. The image of her, always kind to everyone and never abandoning those in need, still comes to mind. In that moment, something inside me changed. Can I ask you one thing? I took the resume from Chloe's hand and asked her as I glanced over it. Why do you want to work here so badly? At my words, Chloe looked up with a serious expression. Actually, I had mapo tofu at a Chinese restaurant. It was right after I lost my left arm in an accident and was finally discharged from the hospital. The tofu was so incredibly delicious, it moved me like nothing I'd ever eaten before. So I asked the staff where they got their tofu, and they told me it was from Miller's tofu shop. I see, so that's what happened. Yes, I've only recently been able to start looking for a job. That's why I came here today. Ever since I ate your tofu, I've wanted to be a part of it. With a voice that trembled at times, Chloe bowed her head deeply again. I looked down at her resume again, and then at her, thinking. Chloe's earnest eyes and determined, though trembling, words struck a chord in my heart. To be honest, I never thought someone would come along with so much passion for our tofu. I see, you care so much about the shop, about our tofu. As my mother's words, lend a hand to those in trouble, crossed my mind, a new resolve was born within me. I want to mentor Chloe. I want to teach her how to make tofu with my own hands and be a source of strength for her. If Chloe came here with that much passion, I should respond in kind. All right, I get it. I'll hire you, but not for $1 a day. I'll hire you as a full-time employee for $2,300 a month. What? Chloe looked up at me with a surprised expression. I gave her a reassuring smile and a nod. If I'm going to hire someone, I'm not going to do it half-heartedly. Don't say ridiculous things like $1 a day. But with this body, touching her prosthetic left arm, Chloe bit her lip with a slightly pained expression. I could feel her pain as if it were my own. I felt even more strongly that I wanted to take a chance on her potential. You want to work here, right? Then you should work under proper conditions. I'll teach you the job, so let's work hard together. I smiled and extended my right hand to Chloe. Tears welled up in her wide eyes. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, looking forward to working with you. As I shook hands with Chloe, I made a firm decision in my heart. I'm not just going to treat her as an employee, but as a member of this shop. It's my turn to carry on the values my mother always cherished. Well then, come in tomorrow. I'll teach you about the shop first, but I'll also teach you how to make tofu eventually, so be prepared. Yes, thank you. I'll be sure to live up to your expectations. Looking me straight in the eye, Chloe's eyes, as she nodded firmly, held a definite strength. The next day, Chloe came to the shop early in the morning. After a brief greeting, I had her start with some simple chores. Tofu making is a deep art, and one wrong step can change the taste. I plan to teach her this little by little. I'll handle the tofu squeezing, so Chloe, you can do the packing. That's an important job too. Yes, leave it to me. Although her left arm is a prosthesis, and she's a bit clumsy, Chloe works diligently with her right hand, quietly completing her tasks. Watching her, I found myself smiling naturally. Complex hand movements seem difficult, but simple tasks are no problem. After a while of being engrossed in mixing the tofu ingredients, I noticed that Chloe, having finished her work, was intently watching my hands. You don't have to stare so hard. I'm not ready to teach you this part yet. When I said it jokingly, Chloe smiled a little shyly. I'm sorry, but watching you make tofu, Mr. Miller, it's so beautiful. It's like watching magic. Haha, it's not magic. It's just technique. But, well, yeah. Tofu is like a living thing. If you cut any corners, it shows up in the taste right away. So it's important to watch and learn. Good job. Yes, thank you. Chloe nodded seriously and returned her gaze to my hands. It's been a while since someone has watched me make tofu with such interest. The work I had been doing silently by myself since my mother passed away suddenly felt different. Yeah, I remember working together like this when my mother was around. Since my mother passed away, the shop has felt somewhat cold. But today, working with Chloe, it feels like it's gradually regaining its warmth. Mr. Miller, what should I do next? Chloe calls out to me with a smile. I naturally smile back at her. All right, next, try moving this tofu over here and cool it down. The key is to cool it slowly. If you rush, the taste will suffer. Yes, I understand. Chloe replied cheerfully and got back to work. Watching her, I was convinced. There's no doubt about it. The warmth has returned to this shop. I was belatedly reminded of the importance of not shouldering the burden of the tofu shop my mother left me all by myself, but of building it up with someone else. Thanks, Chloe. Huh? What's that for, all of a sudden? Nah, no deep meaning. Just because. I'm at a loss for words and laugh to cover it up. It's been a long time since I've said thank you so naturally. I felt like I had been carrying everything on my own for so long that I had even forgotten to be grateful to anyone. Chloe looked at me blankly for a moment, but then she gave me a soft smile. Thank you too. I'm really happy to be working here. I see that's good. By the way, tofu making is really deep, isn't it? Watching you face the tofu today, I realized that all over again. It is. Tofu is simple, but the more you work on it, the more delicious it becomes. My mother, who was the previous owner of the shop, used to say that all the time. Your mother, Mr. Miller? Yeah. Chloe listens intently to my words. I naturally found myself thinking about my mother. My mother was the one who supported this shop for a long time. After my father passed away early, she raised me on her own while teaching me how to make tofu. That's why I was able to keep this shop going. But after my mother passed away, I cut myself off there. Oops, I thought. I didn't mean to tell Chloe this. When I looked up, my eyes met with Chloe's, who was looking at me with a serious gaze. Feeling as if I had been given permission to continue, I couldn't help but open my mouth. After my mother passed away, the shop felt cold all the time. No matter what I did, there was a sense of emptiness. But when you came, Chloe, I felt like that changed. Mr. Miller. Chloe looked a little surprised at my words. I smiled to cover it up and shrugged my shoulders. Well, I know it probably sounds like I'm talking nonsense, but it's important to me. Chloe nods quietly, taking my words seriously. Her attitude put me at ease. So thank you. I'm really glad you came here, Chloe. I'm glad I came here too. I want to learn more about your tofu making, Mr. Miller, and do my best to become a strength for this shop. I'm happy to hear you say that. Well, making tofu isn't easy. The real work starts now. Be prepared. When I said that jokingly, Chloe smiled and nodded. Yes, I'm prepared, and I'm determined to learn to make tofu that's just as delicious as yours, Mr. Miller. Hearing those words, I feel a warmth spreading from the bottom of my heart. While moved by Chloe's pure enthusiasm, I was beginning to see a bright future for the shop. The shop's efficiency has certainly improved. Thanks to Chloe handling the chores diligently, I have more time to focus on making tofu. However, we haven't secured any new deals, and sales themselves remain unchanged. At this rate, the shop is in danger. I was gradually getting more and more anxious. One day, as I was working as usual, Chloe suddenly called out to me. Mr. Miller, can I ask you something? Yeah, what is it? The tofu you make has a really nice sweetness, doesn't it? I've been thinking about it since I first tried it. But what do you think about using that sweetness to make sweets? Sweets, you say? For a moment, I couldn't believe my ears. I had never thought of using tofu for sweets before. As I stood there dumbfounded, Chloe continued with a slightly excited look. Actually, I originally wanted to be a pastry chef. But after I got my prosthetic hand, complex tasks became difficult. Still, I can make simple recipes, and I think I can make absolutely delicious sweets using tofu. A pastry chef, I see. So that's why you're knowledgeable about sweets. Yes. Actually, even after I got my prosthesis, I didn't want to give up, so I've been thinking of various recipes. The sweetness of tofu is different from regular desserts. It's natural and good for you, right? I thought I could use that to make sweets that even people on a diet can eat without worry. Chloe's eyes were shining. Her enthusiasm, her refusal to give up on her dream, moved me a little. Tofu sweets, huh? Yes. The recipes I've come up with are simple enough to make with one arm. So even you, Mr. Miller, who isn't good at cooking, can make them. Hey, don't just assume I'm not good at cooking. Oh, are you good at it? I just assumed since you always have cup noodles or convenience store bento for lunch, Mr. Miller. Haha. Well, maybe I'm not that good at it. I chuckled, but Chloe's proposal had piqued my interest. It's true that capitalizing on the recent diet trend isn't a bad idea. Tofu is low in calories and rich in nutrients, and if we repurpose it for sweets, we might be able to tap into new demand. However, as Chloe pointed out, I'm terrible at cooking, and I have absolutely no knowledge of baking. While racking my brain, I turned back to Chloe. Hey, are sweets really that easy to make? Don't you need delicate skills? Leave it to me. Your tofu, Mr. Miller, has a good sweetness, so we won't need much sugar. I'd like to try making a prototype. Is that okay? I thought for a moment. Chloe's proposal has potential. And more than anything, the desire to respond to her passion was growing stronger within me. All right, let's do it. I never imagined tofu sweets, but we don't have a solution as things are now. It's worth a try. Thank you. I'll make sure it's a success. Chloe's eyes lit up, and she nodded enthusiastically. In that moment, I was drawn in by her enthusiasm. Something might change. I felt a premonition of that spreading through my chest. From that day on, Chloe and I made prototypes almost every day. Chloe thinks very seriously about how to use tofu in sweets. When the cake, with a sponge cake base kneaded with tofu and topped with plenty of soy milk cream, was baked, its taste was surprisingly light and moist. This is amazing. It's really delicious. I'm glad, but I'm not satisfied yet. I want to make it even better. With that, Chloe made adjustments over and over, continuing to refine it until she was satisfied. Just watching her made my heart grow warm. Her passion has something in common with my own feelings for making tofu. And finally, a cake that Chloe was satisfied with was completed. This is it. Chloe, this will definitely sell. I'm sure everyone will be amazed by this taste. I'm happy to hear you say that. I hope this helps more people get to know your tofu, Mr. Miller. After securing a supplier for the ingredients, we started selling the tofu cake at the shop. The response was astonishing. Not only were customers who tried the cake moved, saying, "I've never had such a delicious tofu dessert before," but the fact that it's made by a girl with a prosthetic arm also became a topic of conversation. I never thought it would get this much of a response. It's thanks to your tofu, Mr. Miller. No, it was because of your ideas and skills, Chloe. Oh, you think so? Thank you. At my words, Chloe smiled a little shyly. A few days later, the shop's phone suddenly wouldn't stop ringing. Inquiries poured in from retailers all over the country, and including small deals, the number exceeded 200. What should we do, Mr. Miller? What do you mean? What should we do? We have to handle as many as we can. Chloe, this is our chance. We can't let it slip away. Yes, let's do our best together, Mr. Miller. At my words, Chloe nodded firmly. One day, as I was making tofu as usual, the shop door opened with a creak. Well, hello there. When I turned around, I saw Tyler Jones standing there. Tyler, what are you doing here? Well, I just came to check things out. It's been all the rage lately, hasn't it? The tofu sweets from Miller's Tofu Shop are getting national attention. I can hear the sarcasm in his words. I couldn't help but frown, but I kept my cool and replied, "What about it? What about it? That's a cold thing to say. I just wanted to try those famous tofu sweets for myself. Mr. Miller, the extra cakes are ready." Just then, Chloe came out from the back of the shop. As soon as Tyler saw her, he approached her with a smirk. Well, you must be the famous girl with the prosthetic arm. Perfect timing, actually. We're looking for someone to make the desserts for our course meals at my restaurant. How about it? Want to test your skills? Tyler! I was so surprised I was at a loss for words. Is he trying to poach Chloe? But despite my worries, Chloe stood her ground and said firmly, "I'm sorry, but I'm happy with my current job. Besides, I want to learn how to make tofu from Mr. Miller here and grow as a pastry chef. So, I'm sorry." Chloe bowed politely, and Tyler's face twisted slightly, but he quickly put on a smile and pressed on. "I'll pay you more than double what you're making here. My place has much better conditions than this tiny shop. It's not about the money. I want to work here with Mr. Miller." Those words made my heart tremble. Chloe's resolve was firm, and she had a strength that wouldn't yield to any temptation. I stepped in front of Chloe protectively and faced Tyler. Tyler, please leave for today. If you keep pressuring my employee, I'll have to take appropriate measures. Shh. You'll regret turning down my offer. Tyler clicked his tongue with an undisguised look of irritation, and with those final words, he left the shop. After that incident, Tyler never came to our shop again. Meanwhile, the shop's reputation continued to spread, and we decided to develop a collaboration product with a major hotel. We went to the hotel's headquarters and proceeded with a meeting with the person in charge. For this collaboration product, we'd like to strongly feature a Japanese taste. Mr. Miller, Ms. Davis, do you have any good ideas? The female representative said as she spread out the documents. Then Chloe immediately spoke up. Yes. First, how about shiratama made with tofu instead of water? It would have a smoother and softer texture than regular shiratama, and you would get a hint of tofu's sweetness. That's interesting. Let's add it to the list of candidates. Do you have anything else? Well, I was also thinking about warabimochi made with soy milk. Using soy milk would emphasize a healthy image, and it should be popular with female customers. I see. The female representative took notes with an impressed look as Chloe presented one idea after another. Listening beside her, I was impressed at how reliable Chloe had become. Also, it might be a bit too Western, but I think a matcha roll cake made with tofu cream would be nice too. That sounds great. Let's go with that. If you could share the recipe with us, we can proceed with a trial run and other preparations together at a later date. Thank you for your time today. The meeting ended successfully, and we were escorted out of the reception room by the representative. The view from the hallway window showed that it was already dark outside. The female representative turned to me and Chloe and bowed deeply. Thank you for staying so late today. I'm very sorry. We've prepared a room for you, so if you'd like, please feel free to stay here tonight. I'm sorry, thank you. Chloe, what do you think? Should we take her up on her offer? Yes, please. Understood. Then, I'll show you to your room. The female representative smiled and led us to our hotel room. We took the elevator to the top floor of the hotel. This is your room for tonight. If you need anything, please let the front desk know. Please, make yourselves at home. The female representative bowed and left in front of one of the rooms. We were shown to a suite. For a moment, I thought I might be sharing a room with Chloe, and my heart skipped a beat, but there was another door at the back of the room, and a separate bathroom. I glanced at Chloe next to me, and she had a similar expression on her face. Well, I guess it's safe to say we can relax. I was a little surprised there for a second. We both laughed to cover it up. This is an amazing room, though. It's like a dream to be able to stay in a place like this. Looking completely at ease, Chloe walked around the room, her voice bright. Yeah, it is. I also sat down on the built-in sofa and enjoyed the luxury of the room. Just then, Chloe sat down on the sofa across from me and looked at me with a serious expression. What is it? What's wrong? Mr. Miller, I know I've said this before, but thank you so much for hiring me, for teaching me how to make tofu, and for helping me make my dreams come true. Chloe. To be honest, I had almost given up on my dream of becoming a pastry chef when I got my prosthetic arm. But thanks to you, Mr. Miller, I've been able to feel the joy of making sweets again, and I'm truly grateful. Chloe's eyes were direct, and I found myself staring into them for a while. Mr. Miller, I wonder how long I'd been doing that. Chloe's slightly bewildered voice brought me back to my senses. Oh, sorry. Chloe, I should be thanking you. I've come this far because of you. Thank you so much. No, I should be the one. As I bowed my head, Chloe shook her head in a flustered way. This isn't getting us anywhere, I thought with a wry smile, and reached for the bottle of champagne on the table. How about it? Since we're here, why don't we have a toast with us today? Oh, is it okay? Something so expensive. It's fine. Today's special. I opened the champagne bottle and poured it into a glass. Chloe, here's to our future. Yes, to our future. She took the glass with a smile and we lightly clinked them together in a toast. The night quietly deepened. In the midst of it, I felt the bond between me and Chloe growing even stronger. After many more meetings and trial runs, the collaboration product we developed with a major hotel was finally released. The tofu sweets with a strong Japanese influence quickly became a hot topic and garnered attention both domestically and internationally. "This is amazing, Mr. Miller. We even have customers from overseas," Chloe exclaimed, her eyes shining. "I really never thought it would become this popular." "It's all thanks to you, Chloe. It's because of your tofu, Mr. Miller. I just helped a little." Chloe was being modest, but I was convinced that this success would not have been possible without her. The shop prospered, and with every visit from tourists and the media, her presence grew larger. "Mr. Miller, could I use the workshop on our next day off? There's a recipe I'd like to try." "Oh, I don't mind. But Chloe, you should really rest on your days off. If you work too hard, you'll get sick." "I'm fine. I'm surprisingly strong, you know." Chloe puffed out her chest and made a muscle with her right arm. That gesture made me realize I had almost forgotten that her left arm was a prosthetic. That's how much I rely on Chloe. But I tell myself strongly that relying on her isn't enough. "All right. Then I'll help you that day." "Oh, really?" "Yeah. If there's anything I can do, just let me know." Chloe's eyes lit up, and I smiled and nodded encouragingly. From now on, I have to be able to support Chloe. I made a strong vow in my heart. For a while after that, the shop's business was going well. It's as if the struggles of those days were a lie. Miller's Tofu Shop is now a national sensation, often featured on TV and in magazines. But that fulfilling time didn't last long. "What is this?" One day, posts claiming that a foreign object was found in a product from Miller's Tofu Shop suddenly went viral on the internet and social media. A foreign object? No, that can't be. I couldn't believe it. We've always been extremely careful with our hygiene management, and there's no way we'd make a mistake like that. And yet, mercilessly, the negative rumors about the shop kept spreading. "Mr. Miller, this is terrible. People are writing bad things about the shop online. They're saying there was a foreign object in the food," Chloe says anxiously, showing me her phone screen. She, too, was shaken by this sudden turmoil. I sighed deeply as I looked at the screen Chloe showed me. "What is this?" "Sloppy management. Quality has dropped since we got popular. They're saying whatever they want." "Mr. Miller, what should we do at this rate?" I could hear the tremor in Chloe's voice. I couldn't help but feel anxious and uneasy myself, but at times like these, I have to stay calm. "First, let's confirm the facts. Let's thoroughly investigate the source of the problem." "Yes." Chloe looks down, anxious. Neither Chloe nor I have any recollection of neglecting hygiene management, but she's still worried. It's understandable. Perhaps a gap had opened up in the shadow of the shop's rapid growth. "Chloe, let's just start with what we can do for now." "It's okay. If anything happens, I'll take full responsibility." "Mr. Miller." I smiled and nodded to reassure Chloe, who was biting her lip as if to endure something. For the time being, I closed the shop and responded one by one to the mountain of inquiries that came in every day. In the midst of this, Chloe suddenly makes a suggestion. "Mr. Miller, why don't we ask the Public Health Department to investigate?" The Public Health Department? With the facts of the damage not even confirmed, will they act so quickly if we request an investigation? It would be a help if they would, but it should be fine. I actually know someone at the local Public Health Department. With that, Chloe started making a call on her phone. The next day, a public health inspector arranged by Chloe came to the shop. He was an elderly, well-built man. As soon as he entered the shop, he bowed deeply before me. "Mr. Miller, first, please allow me to introduce myself. My daughter is in your care. I'm Chloe's father." "What?" I was surprised and looked back and forth between the man and Chloe. Chloe smiled at me, looking a little apologetic. "Mr. Miller, I've told my father everything. It may be presumptuous of me, but please leave this to us. I understand. No, honestly, I'm grateful. I'm sorry to trouble you, but please, I'm counting on you. I turned to Chloe's father and bowed my head. Leave it to me. I'll investigate this matter thoroughly. I'll check not only this workshop, but also the outsourced production line. His calm voice and reassuring smile as he nodded were sincere and dependable. Chloe also looked a little relieved. I still don't know how this whole mess will turn out, but I was prepared to bring everything to light. A few days later, a report from the Public Health Department arrived at the shop. See? Our shop wasn't in the wrong after all. Chloe's voice was bright as she read the report. It proved that there was nothing wrong with our shop or the outsourced production line. That's great, Mr. Miller. Phew. But this isn't over. Next, we need to find out who posted that. I remember the original social media post about the foreign object contamination. There are too many unnatural things about that image. All right, let's hire a lawyer and have them investigate the source of that post. This has gotten too big. We can't let baseless accusations slide. You're right. If someone did this intentionally, we can't just let it go. Chloe nodded firmly at my words. A few days after consulting a lawyer and requesting an investigation from various agencies, a report came in. As a result of tracking the social media posts, it was found that the foreign object contamination post was highly likely to be a fabrication. And as the investigation progressed, something truly surprising was discovered. It was Tyler. The report stated that Tyler Jones was the one who had made that social media post. That man. He said something like, "You'll regret this, but I can't believe he'd do something like this." Chloe shivered as she stared at the report. I was silent for a while, and I thought it over. The face of the former president of the Chinese restaurant who had been so good to us flashed through my mind. But I had to be strong to protect the shop. Chloe, I'm going to take legal action against Tyler. You're going to sue him? Yeah. If we let this kind of cowardly tactic slide, he'll just do it again. We have to take a firm stand to protect our shop. Hearing my words, Chloe looked a little anxious, but then a look of determination began to appear on her face. I understand. I'll fight with you. If there's anything I can do, just let me know. Yeah, thanks, Chloe. We'll protect this shop together. I lightly patted Chloe's shoulder. Chloe nods firmly with a serious expression. I resolved to rebuild this shop with Chloe. Chloe, I'm going to take legal action against Tyler. Our shop is also gradually clearing up the misunderstanding from the public. The shop, which had been closed for a long time, is finally set to reopen. One day, the shop door quietly opened. Well, Mr. Jones. The moment I turned my eyes to the person who had entered, I let out a surprised cry. Standing there was Tyler's father, the former president of the Chinese restaurant that had been a long-time customer of our shop. Mr. Jones was in a suit, looking a little tired. Arthur, I am so sorry for the trouble my son, Tyler, has caused you. With that, Mr. Jones bowed his head deeply. I was speechless at the sight of him. I never thought Mr. Jones would come to the shop to apologize in person. No, Mr. Jones, you don't have to bow your head. I hastily replied, but Mr. Jones continued in a strained voice, his head still bowed. No, as a parent, and more importantly, as the former representative of the company, I am also responsible for this incident. I will make sure Tyler takes full responsibility, and I've also decided to have him resign as president. What? Tyler is resigning? Yes. Tyler was still immature. I'll be back as president for a while. I plan to be strict with Tyler and make him start over from scratch. Hearing his words, I felt a slight pang in my chest. Mr. Jones had made a tough decision regarding Tyler. I felt I could see his resolve in that action. Mr. Jones slowly raised his head and looked me straight in the eye. Arthur, I'm not asking you to resume business with us now, but if you're ever in trouble, don't hesitate to rely on me. I'm rooting for your shop from the bottom of my heart. Mr. Jones, why do you care so much about our shop? I asked him the question honestly. Then Mr. Jones looked off into the distance, and began to speak with a nostalgic expression. Actually, when I was young and my business was struggling, your father and mother helped me out. If it weren't for their support back then, our restaurant might not exist today. So that really happened. I couldn't hide my surprise. And then I understood. The previous deal with Mr. Jones had been too favorable for our shop. But that must have been what Tyler found so uninteresting. Arthur, what happened this time is inexcusable. I am so sorry. Mr. Jones bowed his head deeply again. I felt a wave of gratitude for his sincerity. Mr. Jones, please don't worry about it anymore. And if you could, please continue to watch over our shop. That would be the greatest encouragement. Yes, of course, I promise. Mr. Jones smiled, looking somewhat relieved, and left the shop. As I watched his retreating back, I renewed my determination to protect this shop. The misunderstanding from the bad rumors was cleared up, and the shop was bustling with activity again. Customers were returning, and the number of foreign tourists was increasing. Amidst all this, I began to think about continuing the connection with Mr. Jones that my parents had cherished. I talked to Chloe about it, and she readily accepted my proposal. If that's what you want to do, Mr. Miller, I'm all for it. Chloe's bright smile puts me at ease. At the same time, I started to feel a strong desire to continue the shop with Chloe for the rest of my life. One payday, Chloe rushed over to me in a panic. Mr. Miller, I can't accept this much. She was holding this month's pay stub in her hand. Actually, to reward Chloe for her hard work, I had given her a significant raise. It's okay, take it. I can't have you going somewhere else, Chloe. I said it jokingly, but Chloe shook her head with a surprised expression. No way, I'm not going anywhere else. I've decided to work here forever. Those words warmed my heart. Haha, I see. Well then, I guess you won't quit even if you get married and go off somewhere, Chloe. I asked it as a bit of a joke, but Chloe turned beet red and started to panic. Mr. Miller, I'm not going to get married and go anywhere else. Because, for me, there's only you, Mr. Miller. Her words made my heart pound. Now's the time. Give it to her. I told myself firmly and reached into my pocket. Chloe, will you accept this? With that, I held out a small ring on a chain to Chloe. It was something I had prepared to give to Chloe if I ever got the chance. Mr. Miller, what is this? Chloe's eyes widened as she stared at the ring. I scratched my head and continued. Sorry, I'm not good at this kind of thing. I couldn't think of anything more clever. Well, if you don't want it, you can sell it or throw it away. Whatever you want. I would never do that. I'll cherish it. Chloe took the ring from my hand and held it tightly, smiling as if she had just received a treasure. Ever since then, Chloe has been wearing the ring on a chain as a necklace. But during breaks, she sometimes puts the ring on the ring finger of her prosthetic hand and gazes at it happily. Every time I see her do that, I renew my determination to protect the shop with her and support her for the rest of my life.